Suppose a firm has an opportunity to spend $15,000 today on some investment that will produce $17,000 spread out over the next 5 years as follows. Is this a wise decision? Hard to know, right? Because these cash flows are occurring at different points in time. So to make a wise investment decision, we need to compare these cash flows that we're receiving in the future to today's cash flow. Or conversely, we need to convert them all today's cash flow to future cash flows so that we're comparing at the same point in time. In order to make a wise investment decision, we would like to consider all these cash flows at the same point in time so we can compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges, because as we've already discussed, a dollar today has more value than a dollar tomorrow. So, one way we could compare our $15,000 to the series of cash flows is to convert all these cash flows, apply some interest rate, all these cash flows, and convert them to a future value. So for example, our $15,000 investment, we could find its value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the future by a process called compounding. In other words, we would apply interest to this $15,000 each year over 5 years to arrive at a future value. And then we can compare that to the future value of all these other cash inflows at a point in the future. So this $3,000 cash flow, we would compound that 1, 2, 3, 4 periods into the future. This 2-year cash flow, we would compound that 3 years to 3, 4, and 5 so that we could compare all of our cash flows at the same point in time. Alternatively, we could compute present values. So we already have the $15,000 investment. Its present value is $15,000. And then we could find the present value of all these other cash flows via a process called discounting. Again, applying interest, but in reverse, of all these amounts that are going to be received in the future to a present value. So anytime we're taking present values to find future values, we call that compounding. Anytime we're taking future values to find present values, we call that discounting. And as we're compounding and discounting, we're going to encounter different basic patterns of cash flows. For example, we could have a single amount, a lump sum, for example, held today that we would like to find its future value, or a lump sum future value that we'd like to find its value in today's dollars. We also have annuities, which are level, periodic streams of cash flows over a fixed period. If you've had a car payment or a house payment before, you're familiar with annuities. Those payments are all the same. That's an annuity. And then we have a mixed stream, and that's the example that we just saw. It's a stream of unequal cash flows occurring over some period of time. And then we have a perpetuity, which is like an annuity in that all the payments are the same, all the cash flows are the same, but they don't end. They just continue going on forever.